I reported on this before, but I want to give you the latest part of it, so to speak. So when you watch my video about those steps, it's not old information, and so I try to update it a little bit whenever something comes up. And that's why I'm going to talk about the step-by-step opening today again. And because of the successful vaccination campaign, Great Britain is easing the lockdown. A new surge in infections is expected, though. I will go to a pub myself on Monday, April 12th, and carefully but inevitably bring a beer glass to my lips. With this statement, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced last Monday that England would be in line with plans next week, and the government would move to the next stage of opening of the lockdowns. Shops, fitness studios, animal parks, holiday camps, personal care services such as hairdressers, beer gardens, and other outdoor catering establishments can welcome people again from Monday next week after a 4-month lockdown. The transition to so-called Stage 2 is possible because, among other things, the vaccination program is successful and the number of infections is reduced. There are now 31.6 million people vaccinated with 1 dose in the UK. According to the latest studies in England, the likelihood of symptomatic COVID-19 diseases would drop by 60% after the first dose alone. Hospital stays have therefore decreased by 80%. Since the last high of 1,300 deaths per day at the beginning of the year, around 47 people are currently dying from COVID every day. Both Johnson and government medical advisor Chris Whitty made no secret of the fact that the opening steps would by no means mean that Britons can now cloak themselves in complacency, said Whitty. The experience in Chile has shown that a good vaccination program alone is not enough to keep the diseases consistently low. Johnson said it was still unknown how much the vaccinations would protect if the infection rates rose again. He's sure that this will happen. The calculations of the medical and scientific crisis team also do not rule out a new wave of infections. To further combat the pandemic, self-tests with diagnostic test strips, lateral flow tests, will be available for all people in England in parallel with the easing. These can be requested free of charge in pharmacies, test centres or online. The Scottish regional government also wants to follow the English programme. Wales and Northern Ireland are unlikely to do otherwise. One of the big questions in the UK, however, is that of a vaccination certificate. It has since resulted in an unusual joint front of over 70 MPs, including former Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn, Liberal Democratic Party leader Ed Davies, and numerous MPs from the Conservative Party who set these passports as a method of restricting civil liberties that harm those who could not or did not want to be vaccinated for various reasons, such as illness and pregnancy. According to Johnson, there will be no identification requirement at the places accessible from April 12th. However, certification is being tried out for large events, such as the final of the soccer league on May 15th. These certificates will contain information on vaccinations, previous illness, and test results. However, like many countries, the UK is considering designating that for international travel, Johnson said. Details are still unclear. The question of whether non-essential travel with Stage 3 of the easing will be allowed again from May 17 remains open. And just to clarify a few points, because of the differences. A lot I put on the list for the openings on April 12th is possible here in Germany all the time while you are under a certain incidence, even with a totally different way of the vaccination program. I'm going to my last week I was second time to my hairdresser again since they reopened, so it's more than a month that they open now. I can go shopping, I just need to make an appointment. Food shopping, anyway, you can go, it's just a limit how many people are allowed in the shop. And so many of those things, except the beer gardens outside, is possible here already. So it always depends on the behavior of the people if they will be working or not. And it's always the same here. I'm fortunately living in a town where it seems that more than the average of people is sticking to the rules. That's why we managed to keep a low incidence here and keep the freedoms we have for quite some time now. Sorry. In other cities, it looks different. With the incidence of 100, there are changes here. We are below that. And that's why I can still go to the hairdresser, buy books, buy whatever I need and stuff from my studio. I can just make an appointment, just go there. It works within 30 minutes usually. And it really is up to the behavior of the people. It's not only the vaccination program. It's up to the behavior of the people. If they stick, even if you're vaccinated, you have to stick to the rules. Wear a mask, social distancing, and stuff like that. Wash your hands, of course. And that will be the deciding point of the whole thing, not the vaccination program. Of course, as soon as it progresses, when, let's say, 75% of the population had their 2 doses, or Johnson & Johnson with just 1 dose, then it should be much better. But at the moment, even with a vaccination like in the UK, it all depends on people's behavior. And that is something we can see here anytime. If people misbehave, incidence goes up like hell. And so I'm really curious how this will work out in the UK. And of course, I'll keep you informed what's happening there, what's happening here. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel. Auf Wiedersehen.